Okay, so the next thing I want to share with you is about academic discourse. And the next couple slides are from Kate Kinsella. She's a leading authority on academic language and vocabulary with students, especially EL students. So, two things. She's looking at it from the perspective of a the student who is reporting or speaking to the audience, and then she's looking at also how the audience and the students in the audience would would behave and how what are they doing as they're listening. They're actively listening. They shouldn't be passively listening. So we'll take a look at the first two bullet points. The first bullet point says for the speaker, for the student who's going to be speaking, that they should be using their public voice. And what does that mean? It means to speak twice as slow but 3 times as loud than their conversation voice. So this is something that you could have them practice together, maybe in partners or in a group. Maybe give them some writing prompts before they actually try this out in class. Have them try it out in a small group. Second thing that she says a speaker should do is use the sentence frame to report their idea, and that's something that the teacher would provide. So I'm going to share an example of that with you today as well. Now for the audience member, if you're the audience member, they should be looking at and listening attentively to the reporter. So that tells the students who are in the audience it's not a time to just snooze and kick back and not pay attention, but you need to be an active listener, as well as recording to classmates' names and ideas. And so this really gives them a purpose. As they're listening, they're going to need to actually write down some things that they heard so that they can then, final point, listen for similarities and compare ideas. And this would be a great way to then lead into more discussion. The next thing that Kate Kinsella says about academic language and discourse is to distinguish between everyday language, everyday English, excuse me, and academic English. So she has some really great examples here. So mine's the same or me too. Instead of saying that out loud, the students can practice saying, my idea is similar to Monica's, or I agree with John, or my idea builds upon Eric's idea. And so it gives them somewhere to go with what they're thinking and how they want to say it. So let's take a look at an example here. On my slide, I have a sentence starter, and the sentence is, the problem in this selection is blank, and some of the possible solutions are. And so what I would do is have the student who is going to be speaking, you see there's a little speaker here so they understand the speaker says this. I'd have this on the screen and the student would be able to see that on the screen, and then when it's their turn to report to the class, they would stand up and say this sentence but fill in the blanks. And this is also taken directly out of the same weekly lesson within the textbook. So I'm not like making up anything that you haven't already seen or you don't have access to. I'm just showing you new ways of putting it into your lessons. Now what the students would be doing, and this is the students who are listening in the audience, so you see this student here, he's sitting down with his pencil in his hand and his notebook open, and he's ready to take notes and he's listening attentively. And so the students do in the audience is they look and listen attentively, and then they're going to record 2 classmates' names and ideas. So this is always on the screen, and it's something that the kids can see and not forget. Okay, so that is academic discourse. Moving on to organizing digital content. The reason I wanted to share this with you is because as you start to collect images, video, hyperlinks, things that are great to supplement your lesson plans, you're going to need a way to store it so that you can find it quickly and share it with others. And it's really critical that if you're going to be creating lessons in a collaborative way, that you have a common way of collecting the information so that when you're sharing a folder, it's got a certain order to it or a hierarchy to it. And so I'm just going to share with you one way that I collect my digital content and store it in my computer. I always start with a folder, and I call it, in this case, I'll call it third grade Let's Communicate, because that's the theme. So here's an example, sixth grade Courage. Okay, and then the next folder that I have inside that folder is the story, maybe the first story title or story selection that we're going to be reading. So one of the story selections that I used earlier was the one about bullying. Let's see what the name of it was here. It was called High Tech Bullies. So this folder could be called High Tech Bullies. The next, you have another folder called Assets. Assets are the media that go into helping the students understand that particular story. So you could have all your audio clips in a folder, your images, your video. And so all of that usually goes into your assets. So if another teacher is going to be working on collecting assets for high-tech bullies, and you're going to be working on collecting assets for election day, you can just take the assets folder and put it on a flash drive and share it so that way you have a copy. It's a great way to just collect all of the digital assets together. The next folder after that is resources, and these are things like hyperlinks or sample PowerPoints that you found online, or PDF worksheets, anything that might help you teach that particular story selection. And then after that, we've got sample projects, and these are things that I would keep after I taught the story the first time. I would collect some student samples, or maybe create a student sample of my own, or maybe I found one online, and anything that was a sample of what it was I wanted the students to do as the culminating project, I would keep there. So all of these folders live inside this particular folder here. So you can see there's a little bit of a hierarchy that happens, so that whenever you're creating content for a particular story selection, or I'm sorry, a particular theme within a grade level, you can collect it all in the same. So if you were going to have a second story that goes within the same thematic unit, you would have the second story folder here, and it would follow along. So it's not just one folder in one folder inside of another folder. It's several folders inside of one major folder. So I know that's a little confusing, but hopefully seeing this visual gives you a better idea, and maybe that might help you as you organize your digital content. This next section is about Google Advanced Search and how to search effectively. I'm at google.com, and here you see a search engine. What I'm going to do is type in no bullying. See what comes up. What I want to do is show you what happens when you start filtering your searches and how they narrow. So I'm going to scroll this up just a little bit so you can see that. So I typed in no bullying, and I got 242 million hits. That's a lot of hits, and it's probably going to take me a while to get through all of these websites to find something meaningful. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in quotation marks, because what happens is when you search words, keywords, you're searching no throughout the whole internet, and you're searching bullying throughout the whole internet, so you're getting a lot of information. But when you put quotations around a phrase or a term or a set of words, what the search engine does is it searches everything with those two words as a set, so everything that's no bullying. So you see that we went from millions of hits to now 549,000 hits, which is significantly less, but still a lot. So how do we narrow that down? Well, this is where advanced search comes in. So let me go ahead and activate advanced search, and I'm going to just move this over so you can see where advanced search is. I'm logged into my Google account, so it's going to show me this options button. And when I click on options, I have advanced search as an option. So now what I'm going to do is scroll down, and I'm going to look in just websites that have a certain domain, and the domain I'm going to use is .k12.ca.us. What that does is it filters the search so that I'm only looking at K-12 educational sites that have no bullying within them. So you see I've got now about a little over 1,500 hits, which is even better than 500,000 hits. So now I can really get somewhere. So I've got some information from other schools, other teachers probably, who have developed content or presentations on no bullying. Now I'm going to filter it just a little bit more so that I can, let me back up one, so that I can look at third grade. Okay, so I'm going to put third grade. Let's see what we get now. So now we've got, looks like we've got a little over 10,000 hits, which is, the reason is because I didn't put that in quotations yet. So I'm going to put third grade in quotations as well. And now I've got 54 hits. So you see how that filters. So I really narrow down to what I'm looking for by using those quotations. Okay, but what if I'm looking for a presentation? Okay, I need to create a presentation on no bullying that is specifically for third grade. So what I can do is go back to advanced search, and I'll go here, and I need to type in third grade here, and I'm going to scroll down to file type. You'll see in file type, by default, it will set it at any format. But when I click on the arrow, I have all of these options where I could look just specifically for that one type of file. So I'm going to click on Microsoft PowerPoint and advanced search. And now I have 8. I went from millions and millions to 8. So I can click on any of these PowerPoints to see what's there and get an idea if it's something that would work for me. That's Google Advanced Search, and there are so many other possibilities when you use that advanced search option, but this is just one, and it's just a great way to help you get resources that are specific to your needs.